after a podcast of changes. Here's another one. 2024 has started with a change in the way realtors cooperate with each other. And this was announced, I believe, January 3rd, 2024. And it is around marketing listings. So the quick summary is CREA, our governing board, has announced that realtors must post a listing on MLS within 3 days of marketing it publicly. You are allowed to market listings or exclusive listings or listings not on market to your brokerage through potentially a Slack channel, some sort of email thread that goes directly to realtors at your brokerage. But anytime you put something public, which includes a for sale sign out front of the property, social media posts, whatever that may be, you are required to put it on MLS within 3 days. Now, we're still trying to figure out all the details of this. There are a number of mentions that the seller can opt out of this in writing if they elect to, or keep their listing exclusive, not on MLS. It's a bit confusing why a policy like this was brought in, who it benefits. Help me out.
I put a lot of thought into this because, I think it harms more people than it benefits, and I say that because it benefits the seller that's being taken advantage of by a realtor. It benefits the turnkey house that's very desirable, where an agent might try to sell it before it gets listed. It's basically trying to limit the realtor from providing limited exposure to a really good listing and selling it at what may be a below market price, whether it's early day one on market or ideally before it hits market. I think that's what it's about.
Yeah.
But it harms a lot. I see there's, I think they, and I don't know, maybe they do, they should exempt, there should be more exemptions. It's 3 days, why not 7? You should exempt luxury. You should exempt land. You should exempt investment properties. There's, to me, it's kind of trying to show the benefits of the MLS by forcing you to use it. And there's let's acknowledge that, in a seller's market, I think a seller's market is kind of the fringe of a seller's market is when 1 out of 5 listings sell in a given month. And, 1 out of 5 listings sell in a given month, 4 out of 5 are not selling in a given month. 2 out of 5 are probably dreaming. Those 2 out of 5 dreamers don't always need to be on the MLS and have 800 days on market. There's a lot of listings that are overpriced, and if you force them to be on the MLS, you're forcing them to be just, this is not forcing them to be on the MLS, but it limits your exposure when they're off MLS. You're creating more transparency on the days of market of listings that are struggling to sell. Yes, it mitigates some actions that realtors have done in the past, where they may have undersold the property and taken advantage of a seller, but those types will still find a way. And this right here, for us, the frustration for us is we found in a hot market, listings would sell quick. And the coming soon push that we would do for if we got photos done a week before, we could start sharing stories about the listing that's coming up, start in Instagram and Facebook, and start saying coming soon to give an extra week of exposure to a listing before it hits the market so we get some people more ready for it. Yes, that's in our network that sees it, but it benefits the seller because it gets more eyes for the seller. And then we get it on market and we plan for an offer date, and it helps and it benefits the seller most of the time, if not all the time for us. I don't see, aside from the seller that isn't in tune with market values and maybe trusts the wrong person too much, I don't see how this benefits the sellers. I think it's in the industry's best interest over the seller's best interest most of the time. And I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how this unfolds. But one instance, having a just listed flyer hit through Canada Post of a new listing, that or coming soon, that's a great way to let a neighborhood know a listing's going to hit. And to time that flyer drop within 3 days of listing under Canada Post uncertainty and the print and all that, it's too much. So my ask would be to extend it from 3 days to 7 if we're going to have a rule like this, but really take a good look of if you're doing more harm, then you're benefiting a few, but harming many. And that's my thought on it initially, but it's early days.
There are also circumstances where sellers don't want to go on MLS, where they want something to move quickly, or they're in a situation where they need the sale to happen very quickly. And this kind of limits that as well. I just see, I see a different type of policy. Let's say minimum days on MLS once you list. Like, to me, this isn't really attacking an issue that they're trying to solve. What happened in busy markets often, where we saw homes sell under market value, was list day one, accept an offer day one, and sell without allowing people to come see it. I've always promoted the idea of like, have a minimum days on MLS, have a property needs to be on MLS for 5 days, something like that, if you list it. But taking away the seller's option to explore other avenues, I'm a little bit confused.
There's genuine times where having an exclusive listing makes sense. There's homeowners that recognize the disadvantage of building up days on market and still want to sell their properties, but don't just want to look like a stale listing. So, it's hard for us to, it's creating some hurdles where we can't publicly say, hey, here's this address and property details and post it on social media and blast the world with an opportunity without building up MLS days, because the homeowner may have a track record of being on and off market.
Yeah.
In some cases, it's kind of the same frustration that I've seen some buyers get that want, like, when buyers buy a pre-sale condo and life changes in the 3 to 5 years between when they put the deposit down and want to sell. And the developer has this rule where you say, no, you can't list it on the MLS. You can't advertise it publicly. We have your money. You have to close. You can't get out of it, even though your life may have changed for a genuine reason. Those are frustrating. It's very frustrating. And to some extent, this is similar in some ways.
It's a genuine strategy as a seller. If you're not necessarily ready to list today, like you did this 2 months ago. Yeah, James has a property that he put a for sale sign up in a couple months ago, just to kind of build up a little bit maybe of momentum going into the new year in the listing. And you're not allowed to do that now?
Fortunately, got permission from the seller. I am the seller.
Yeah, it seems a little backwards. Or what's the intent of the policy? And I understand the intent of the policy to be to try to limit crooked realtors that can take advantage of a seller in a situation that maybe doesn't understand market value, maybe has been in the home a long time and has built trust in the wrong individual. But I wonder how many times in a calendar year that type of situation occurs.
For us, it just means that we're going to be doing our coming soon and pushes on a Friday for the listing that hits on the Monday.
Yeah.
But we can't do it on the Tuesday of the week before. So, we will have to adjust. I think this is going to have minimal impact, but it's unfortunate for agents that put a lot of energy into their social media and their audience. It just limits the days that we can share what's coming up to our audience.
Mm-hmm. There will be some creative ways around it.
Yeah,
I feel like at photo shoots, just not mentioning addresses or cities or things like that. And then realtors will inquire. Like, I think part of the thing that we have done a really good job of, and a handful of realtors throughout Greater Vancouver have, is build an audience of realtors. So that when you're marketing a new listing coming soon or at a photo shoot, you're getting 1,000 realtors who are very active in Greater Vancouver to see it. And that's part of the advantage of working with someone who sells a lot of real estate and puts a lot of effort into social media. And I think that will still occur.
Yeah.
And those conversations behind the scenes, which this policy allows, will still occur. It'll just be a slightly different way of doing it.
Just be a bigger teaser with a little less information.
Yeah.
We'll see how it unfolds.
We will.